And now, live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, Anthony Gismondi and Casey Wilson. This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CIL 650.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
Casey's already told me I have two characters on the other side. How are you, men?
We're going well, and thank you very much for that introduction with Australian music in the background there.
Thank you. We aim to please.
Of course.
CraigStephenson from McWilliams, GregWest, Evans and Tate.
Correct.
I'll say left and right, but our listeners won't know that.
Well, they're going to tell you who they are because they were at a great party at West Restaurant. Tell us what happened.
Well, it was fantastic. You know, we hadn't been to a restaurant like that for ages. You know, we're simple country fellas. And
I knew this was coming.
Honestly, what those guys did with the food was just amazing. The actual imagination to put some of those dishes together. And what they had done is tried all of our wines previously and really built a dish around them. And it was just fantastic. And it was themed East versus West. So East as in Mount Pleasant and McWilliams, and West as in Evans and Tate.
Yeah.
But people get you mixed up. You guys look alike.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm 20 years older, but, you know, he's just aged really badly.
It's been a tough life.
Yeah.
So they ended up calling one of you Eastie and one of you Westie.
Yeah, well, my last name's West, and now it's a lot easier to call me Westie and him Eastie.
Yeah.
I know, Craig and Greg, it's very confusing.
Well, you know, a lot of Canadians say A, so I've never understood why Western A is not a more popular way to describe the wines of Western Australia and Canada, because it would be perfect.
Exactly.
Good thinking about it. Yeah. Okay, let's do the wines first, because we always run out of time. Who wants to start, and which wine shall we start with?
I'll start.
Okay.
I've got here a beautiful Chardonnay, which comes from a region that we're very excited about at McWilliams. It's a region called Tumbarumba. So really cool climate. In fact, the highest vineyards in Australia. Yeah. These vineyards sit at about 850 metres altitude, sitting on beautiful granite soils, and what you get is just a really delicate, elegant Chardonnay that, with that lovely fine-boned acidity. It's just a beautiful example of McWilliams.
Too mineral, too stony, too fresh, too light, too bright.
A little bit of oak, just, hands off, less is more.
Fantastic.
And it really sort of demonstrates where McWilliams are very actively championing New South Wales as a very diverse wine state.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great wine.
I love that. And the Lee's character, too. It's all great.
Yeah, beautiful. It's been very popular this week.
So, Appellation Series, that's a French name. Are you guys going French in Australia now?
No, we'd never do that.
What's all that about?
No, we'd never do that.
No.
No, it's more about a reference to
where it comes from.
Yeah, and just different altitudes.
Yep.
Right down from really low valley floors like the Hunter Valley right up to, Tumbarumba. So, appellation is, I guess, more of a reference to altitude in this case,
So we've been talking a lot about that in Vancouver this week, the fresher, cleaner style of Australian Chardonnay.
Yep.
It's really changed, eh? Do you guys like it? Do you love it? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, 10 years ago or so, a lot of the Chardonnays were really looking the same with over oak, and they were looking flabby after
They were
a
ads
year
for
or two.
Coopers.
Yeah, look, pretty much.
But nobody realized it.
Well, there were a lot of consumers that were really enjoying it. You know, they were fruit bombs, but they didn't last. And so people were really just drinking the wines. They weren't storing them. They weren't meant to, really.
Yeah, I really prefer this style. And of course, we have so much great seafood in Vancouver. So
Indeed.
You do.
These kind of wines for us are no-brainers.
It's meant to be.
I had an oyster yesterday. It was the size of a dinner plate.
Really?
It's just ridiculous.
In Vancouver?
Yeah.
Well, that's unusual.
It's crazy.
Where was that?
Where was that called?
Where did the
Joe Forte's.
Oh,
Does
my
that sound
God,
right?
yes. We call it Joe Forte's.
Do you?
Yeah, it's quite a good pickup.
Hence the oysters.
She does. I don't call it that.
You can have my phone number later then.
There you go. Oh, man. All right, let's move on to the second wine, or we'll be toast here. And it may not be toasted.
Exactly.
Okay, we have the Evans and Tate.
Yeah, Evans and Tate Redbrook Chardonnay. So this is our 2011 vintage. Mm-hmm. So Margaret River, that wonderful region right down the bottom of southwestern Australia. ocean breezes, which really helps to moderate any heat.
And you're a million miles from South Australia.
We're a million miles from anywhere.
Yeah.
We were in a seminar this morning, and Bill Hardy seemed to say that Western Australia had been trying to secede from the rest of Australia. And I said, no, that's not true at all. No, we love to be part of Australia. It's just so far to get there.
It's a bit like British Columbia. We're miles from everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, we're very much the same. Yeah. We're pretty much in the same map, Canada to British Columbia. Yeah.
So you have
Where's the closest city or town?
Perth is the closest city, and that's about 4 to 5 hours north by car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Although there's a little surfer village where people hang out too.
Yeah, there's a few surfer villages down there, and Margaret River and Trevally Beach.
Yeah, I remember touring around that whole edge of, and everywhere you went, it was like Shark Bite Beach. It was, Shark will eat you beach. Watch out for the Shark Beach all the way along. I thought people surf here. It was really funny.
Well, we've only lost three surfers in the last 6 months, but we don't talk about that.
3 in 6 months.
Oh
wow.
My goodness.
That is impressive.
Yeah, it's not good.
Our guests are Craig Stephenson from McWilliams, GregWest from Evans and Tate. We've been talking a lot about regionality and a new expression in Australia. Is it necessary, or how do you see the current state of Australian affairs in the export market?
Oh, look, I obviously think there's work to do, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
It's about the perception of Australian wine, and from our point of view, it's just celebrating the diversity. It is a massive geographical area with enormous, variation in soil, climate, varietals. It's endless, really, the possibilities, and we need to really, portray that and get that message out to the consumers.
What are you learning from consumers this week? What are you hearing, or what kind of feedback are you getting?
I think from my perspective is it's a really well-educated crowd from my perspective. We do a lot of these wine shows in Australia, and the level of knowledge is higher here than what I've seen in Australia, undoubtedly. But also the level of interest and the fact that they're just bloody polite as well.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't had any rude Canadians at all. It's excellent.
It's great.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love it.
I love some of the food matches with Evans and Tate. One of them just sounds amazing. Pan-grilled salmon with pistachio and lime crust to go with a Chardonnay.
Exactly.
Oh my! I just want to make that dish.
Yeah, well, over in Canada, I'm wondering whether you have a dish called dukkha. Dukkha, which is dukkha.
The spice.
Yes.
We've had it, but not like you have it.
We're using that quite a lot as a crust with salmon in Australia. You see that dish quite a lot. It's excellent.
Well, we have lots of salmon. We're happy about that. At least, anyways. Let's talk a bit about Shiraz. Everybody wants to know about Shiraz in Australia. What can you tell us about, for instance, Western Australia Shiraz is very different than what we see in Barossa or any of those regions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Western Australian Shiraz, it really comes back to the whole terroir and the climate of Western Australia itself.
Yeah.
The gravelly soil that we've got there, those afternoon sea breezes that really moderates everything.
Yep.
From our perspective, it really is just a lovely, elegant. There's fruit there, and there's good tannins.
Sort of mid-term then for drinking, or
look, some of the Shiraz can last a while, and this is from older vines. This particular Shiraz, and older vines in Margaret River is mid-70s.
Mid-70s.
Mid-70s, yeah.
Wow. We had a great discussion about older vines today, and the whole project that's gone on in Barossa, and protecting the age of vines. Pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and it's certainly not exclusive to the Barossa either. It's I'm from the Hunter Valley, and McWilliams have been very actively, looking after some incredibly old vineyards there as well.
Yeah.
We've got a beautiful old vineyard there on the hill that's 135 years old. And
wow. It
just looks magnificent, and it's a vineyard of great provenance.
So the Hunter Shiraz compared to Western Australia, what would you say?
I love them both.
You love them both? Great. But any way to distinguish them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the Hunter style is definitely, that's where Shiraz started in Australia.
Yeah.
The Hunter style is definitely more savoury, a little bit more what you'd expect, a little more traditional, perhaps a little more leathery, a little more spice, more brown spice, less and less of the white pepper.
Yeah.
And, you know, just fabulous wines that have been made for so long and have really made their mark, I guess, in many ways.
Well, it's been an impressive week in Vancouver by the Australians. We love your section, by the way. Doesn't it look cool?
Well, look, we're really happy with what Destination Australia has done.
Yeah.
You know, the Australian government have finally realised that food and wine tourism is what you have to hang your hat on, and they're spending some money at last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's we love the way you guys all pull together too. You know,
yeah, we're
it's
all
kind of
friends.
like if you're weak, either you got to get better or you got to get out. There's no, you don't stand for that laying around. I love that.
No, exactly right. And we've got so much to offer, and everyone's proud of showing of what we've got. You know, from Hunter Valley in Mount Pleasant to McWilliams down in Appalachian, Evans and Tate down in Margaret River. Just love it.
Even the old McWilliams handwoods, you know, you can get them everywhere in Canada at really great prices.
Yeah, people know the brand well. It's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was involved in the opening plenary. It was a sensational 16 wines, really knocked people out in the room. I think there is a new Australia in some ways for us. We know it's been going on for about a decade, but now the wines are here, and it's really a great story, and we're happy you're here to tell us. So thanks so much for joining us. I know it goes fast, but
it does.
It's fun. We went from Western Australia to the Hunter in a matter of seconds.
We wish that happened in real life.
Yes.
CraigStephenson from McWilliams, a great old name. Evans and Tate as well. GregWest. Thanks so much for joining us on the Best of Food and Wine, and
pleasure.
Good luck in Vancouver. There's pretty good nightlife if you can make it out of this room.
Yeah, there is. Should be good.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to the Best of Food and Wine from Sea Isle. We're coming to you live from the floor of the Playhouse International Wine Festival. Year 37. Australia's the theme. We'll be right back.
There's lots more still ahead. Live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, this is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on Sea Isle 650.